skills and a good cover letter. So you want all those things on your resume. And I would say that you could use technology like this, but this is kind of hard. There's not a lot of things out there right now, except maybe AI resume, that can let you do a lot of this advanced stuff. But if you want to do stuff at home, what you can do is use things like search the company, look for their Twitter feed, read about what they're doing, research about the company, look at the jobs they're offering. So that's using intelligence to say, I'm going to learn more about the company I'm applying to. Because a lot of people just see the job, just apply and send a resume out. That's not going to work as well. You need to learn about it and say, hey, I noticed in the news that you had an awesome year and that you did this new technology or this new release, the iPhone X, whatever. You bring that in, make it relevant to your cover letter. It shows that you're learning about them. Because I've gotten resumes, people who apply to AI resume, they put the wrong name. Hey, Frank. You're like, this is just sent out like random, or they'll send out a bulk email like just of all the different resumes. So make sure that you make it intelligent and targeted. Next, you want to make it data-driven. I don't know if you've ever seen Google Analytics. This is kind of a page shot here. And you want to be able to track what people are doing with your resume. So if you have a website or something, you can post your resume on it. You can add Google Analytics. You can add things like Kissmetrics. Also, Hotjar's cool. You can add that. So that allow you to track things on your resume. So if you have a site right now that is your site, add Google Analytics or something to start tracking. Because if you don't see what people are doing with your resume, how in the world are you going to know what to do with your resume? How are you going to know what to change? How are you going to know what works, what doesn't? So make sure you add data, data-driven. Finally, it has to be engaging. One resume, I used AI resume early on. That's why I created it. And I sent a resume out, and the lady said, we don't have a role for you, but I sent it to our entire team. And I get 300 resumes a day. And I send it to the whole team. Now, how would you like your resume sent to the whole team of a company? There's always someone at the company who would be like, hey, no, I like this. This is somebody that I think I'm interested in. You get good exposure. Now, to make that happen, you got to make it engaging. So there are sites like Strikingly and Sniply and YouTube. And those are things, for example, Strikingly, you can create a really cool designed website, resume. Sniply, you can put pop-ups in. And then also YouTube, you have to do video. If you don't get anything else from this talk, make sure you do video. It's very important. You got to have something personal. Say, hey, Google, I love the company. I want to do this for the company. This is what I think I can add value. Make a real video. You got to do it. I require that. Anybody who applies to AI resume, they have to do a video. We don't even look at the resume if there's no video. So you got to have a video in there. And just think about it. If you customize it, you can change the color, how it looks to each individual employee that you apply to. So if you're doing something for like the Ritz-Carlton or something, you need to make sure you brand that resume for that client. You got to do it. Because you know what's great psychologically is when, let's say you apply for Facebook, and you put your name next to Facebook, Titus Blair, Facebook, as software developer. That, in Facebook's mind, is a subliminal message. Like, hey, they work together. I see the name together. So you got to put your name in that company already. So remember that. It's a very important thing about being engaging. I'm going to cover a couple tips and tricks now. It's like secret things that I've learned over time. I don't know if you ever heard of it. LinkedIn is a good site. No, I'm just kidding. It's a good site to get on. So get on LinkedIn, because that's a way to get your information out there. And there's a site like Weave. There's other things. I want you to check it out. It's called weave.in. And these are ways to connect with other people like you who have similar skills. Google Alerts. Raise your hand if you've heard of Google Alerts. Anybody heard of Google Alerts? Yeah, that's cool. Are you using it? Raise your hand if you're using it for your job search. Right on. Okay, cool. So what you want to do is follow the companies that you want to apply to. Like Google can tell you everything something's happening. Oh, they had a big deal, or they had some new venture capital, or they're really investing in video. So get an alert on the companies that you're interested in working for. Keep on top of them. And then you want to follow up after you apply. How many people follow up after they send their resume out to a company? Raise your hand. How many people follow up after an interview? Like when you got an interview, follow. Cool. So you got to do that. As soon as you send the resume out, wait a couple days. You can use tools like Boomerang email, and that will automatically send a follow-up, because we forget, right? Like you send out 5 resumes, you're like, maybe 2 weeks from now you might remember. So if you do Boomerang or a scheduler, you can send out that follow-up and say, hey, how did it go? Did you get my resume? Do you have any questions? Also include something cool in there, like I noticed your company did this, or here's a cool thing for your company, or I built this for you. it's good to do that stuff. And then I want you to find like Facebook groups and Slack groups. Slack is like a chat program. It's pretty cool. And there's one called #freelance, which is awesome. So you can go on there and say, hey, I'm looking for work, or I'm looking to be a nomad, or anything, and you'll always get people who come in. I met a guy who was like RVing around the United States, and it was cool. So you can talk to him about how the life is. So look at the Slack channels and Facebook groups. And then if you don't use Reddit, you gotta be careful with Reddit because you may never come back if you go to Reddit. So go to Reddit, there's job search hacks, which I think is really neat because it's really relevant. You get constant new stuff. How do you like it when you search for an article and it's like from 2012? And you're like, that doesn't help me. You know, I want high-tech job search, and it's like, high-tech job search, and then you look at the date and it's like 2011. You're like, it's probably not gonna work for me. So things like Reddit are like really real time. And you might see something on there. And this is not just for job search, this is for client search, remember. This is the same principles for searching for clients work for jobs. So you can use the job search hacks for searching for clients, connecting with clients. And then WhatsApp channels, this is like the secret sauce that I've found. If you can find groups on WhatsApp, you connect, especially for digital nomadship or anything. If maybe you want to be a photographer that travels the world, look for a WhatsApp group, try and get in there, and then you can chat. You can only search for them. There's not like a way to find them very easily. So the work you put in will give you a lot of good return. So WhatsApp group. And then small successes. So try and do something every day. If you're not employed and you're looking for a job, be consistent and do it daily. So say, I'm going to send out a resume every day, or I'm going to make a list. Make some tasks for you and do them. Because you know what, when you're searching for jobs, you get depressed or sad, especially before AI resume. You'd send out like 20 resumes and nothing would happen. You'd hear crickets, you know. That's it. So now at least I get emails when other people, when they send out their resume, they get like, oh, it blew up, and you see hits and all this stuff. So it's kind of cool. And I can watch what people do, by the way, which is neat, like Hotjar when he showed that. Keep your skills up to date with sites like Udemy, Coursera, and Udacity. So I would take some courses, try and do free as much as possible, but if you have to pay, pay. And take courses on that just to learn some of the lingo, because things might change. One of my friends wants to be a remote digital nomad, and he's like, yeah, I'm a project manager, and I got a degree in it, and he's like, but I don't know what SQL is. Now, when he got his degree, like some of these other jobs were asking for SQL. So I said, take a small course in it just to ramp up, because he's really talented, and he could totally do it. But when they interview him and say, so how's SQL? He's like, is that a new company? Or, he won't know. So ramp up, keep up on your skills. And then here's the one that's really crazy. Send a real piece of mail. Real, you know what that is? That's like a little letter. So send that thing to the company. That's going to be a shocker. You might actually get it put up on the wall at the company, historical, applying with a letter and say, hey, thanks hope you got me. They're going to be like, what is this thing? So send a real piece of mail. Try and shock the company in a good way. So if you're looking, it's maybe remote work and it's a company in Boston, find out what they pay in Boston. Because people like to use this excuse. Oh, you're remote, so we got to pay you a little bit less because of cost of living. So you're like, well, no, I mean, what am I worth? That's important. Like, you need to know that. So those are the main things that we can cover for tips and tricks. And I can provide this to you if you want the slides. So if you forget, because this is a lot of stuff here. So I want to recap the resume of the 21st century: automated, intelligent, data-driven, and engaging. If you do those 4 things, your resume will be a 21st century resume. It's not going to be the black and white old one that I throw out there and it doesn't come back, right? So I have, I think I got it. Yeah, okay. So are there any questions? I had one more thing. I was going to demo it for you, but we don't have internet connected to this. So on the break, I'll be back there back in the lab if you want to see AI resume working and all the cool stuff it does. Any questions right now for me? How do you handle data privacy concerns for customers, as people normally rather trust big corp like LinkedIn? So you mean like if you send your resume out? That's a tough question on that one. How do we do it? I don't know. I think we scare companies because they don't know. So think of it as when you're looking for a job, you are have nothing going for you. Zero. You send your stuff out and you don't know. So this kind of empowers people looking for jobs now, and they're able to see with the statistics. What's the strangest and most effective thing you send a company to get I sent a skunk. No, I'm just kidding. I just sent a skunk. Let's see. The most effective thing I sent a company. I mailed myself. Now, what's the strangest? I don't know. I send a video, like if you do a video, custom video saying hi. I sent the AI resume, I guess. That was crazy. How do you convince clients about working remotely? Well, first of all, I would recommend that you look for clients who are hiring remotely, because there's a very remote chance you're going to get someone to hire you remotely who doesn't do remotely, because they're used to even Google and Facebook. If you try and, it's why I don't work there, because they don't really let you be outside. You got to be in. You got to be a part of, there. So, yeah, pick a remote company. We work remotely was mentioned, and there's some other sites out there. Angel.co is a good one. Any more questions? Can you show us AI? Yes, you'll all be in the back. What's your advice on negotiating salary? My answer is true. No. Like when they asked what's your expected salary, I would say what's your expected pay. Don't try and give it right away. Just say what am I worth to the company? Like what are you offering? Yeah. In some states they don't even let you ask this anymore. In America, in the U.S. So, and I have one more thing. How many more minutes do we got? How many more minutes? 4. Okay. We have a couple more questions, but I also have a giveaway somewhere around here. Whoa! Look at that. Time for prizes. So I did put a couple things in people's seats, just a couple. It's this little card, and you might have seen it. Also, when I threw the resume out, who has that resume? Can somebody get that for me? You won, man. You're the winner. So what we have, Damir, you can come here real quick, and he can show, where's Damir at? There he is. There's a company we're working with that's called Wearable Resume, of course, because it's kind of cool. So you can actually get a wearable resume. So for the prize, if you have this card, you win. I'm going to probably give a couple more out. What you win is the wearable resume. You get a year of AI Resume Pro. You also get coaching to get a job. Like I will help people personally and other people on the team. So if you have this card, you win. If you didn't, you will win in the future. You'll get a job. All right, so thank you very much. I like to cut it short because then it's nice and refreshing. Anybody have any more questions after the thing?